what would you say to the business owners, the entrepreneurs, and those people that are doing it across many industries equally as tough as travelers to some degree? You know, if you look at Melbourne with the lockdown, it's just virtually impossible. What would be some ideas you'd extrapolate and put into their world to focus on? And I'm appealing to the eternal optimist side of you here, right? To try and infuse some of that optimism. What would be some ideas there that you'd give them?
Yeah, sure. I think you can take some examples or some learnings from what we had to do as a business. So within the first 6 weeks, we talk about it in stages. So the first stage that we had to do was the expense piece. So we know that income was zero overnight. And not only was it zero overnight, but like every travel agent in Australia is doing, they're refunding income from prior years. It's income effectively earned and spent already. So everybody was in this immediate, we have to control the expense base. We have to make sure that there's an ongoing viability when this kicks in. But the problem is we don't know what that timeline is. It's dragging on a little bit more than I think everybody anticipated. But everybody, I think, has moved on from that stage one. And now we've turned to the attention went into stage two, which was the operational response. It's how do we keep our people on? You know, how do we get JobKeeper? How do we respond to the customers? How do we do all these refunds? And I think for the most part, that's still ongoing, but the heavy lifting has been done. And now the third piece is we're turning it to, well, what does the future look like? And what does the future look like includes a reality assessment of what do I do? What's the bridge I need to build until I have some semblance of meaningful volume of some revenue, some income that I can actually start to reinvest in my business. Mm-hmm. Again, we've got the same problem, where we're in the red every month rather than the black. And it's what's the time frame that we need to bridge before we get back to what we know. And where I've seen some really great examples of agencies pivoting, I'll give you two actually, and you referenced Penny Spencer before, so I'll use that as the first one. Night before last, I got an email from the Spencer group of companies, and what they were doing was they're contacting their customer list. And I guess to my point earlier about the level of transparency, they were talking through exactly what they're capable of doing. So it's they're acknowledging that typically as a domestic traveler, I would book it myself. I'm quite happy to jump on Virgin and book my domestic flights, or jump onto my core account and book my hotel. But what the Penny was explaining was that they get access to the same flight deals, the same hotel rates, sometimes, if not most of the time, better deals with more inclusions. They get the free breakfast, for example, and they'll be able to give you the same experience at a cheaper price, or a same price with a better experience, but you're stimulating the local economy. Mm-hmm. And I think that level of transparency, I haven't written back to Penny yet, but I commended that level of the honesty there. It's, I'm asking for your help, but you're getting value out of doing this. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, the CBD vibe. I don't think it'll necessarily ever return. When you think about the local coffee shop near me, he now gets my business 3 days a week. Unfortunately, it's not the coffee shop in town, but it's returning to the SME type suburban type environment. Mm-hmm. The other example would be is find another way to make some bridging income. If you're committed to our industry, then you need to find some way to make it some bridging income. And unfortunately, I don't think we have the collective grasp on that yet. And I say that because I'm seeing some really good people leaving the industry. Mm-hmm. We have some pioneers in the industry that these are the people that you really want them to book your holiday. The shit, pardon me, the stuff that they know is it's what you want and what you want to pay for. And it's just how do you get them through this period? And there's one agency. I'll give her a shout out. Is it all right if I give her a shout out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Penny. Melissa Loynes. So she's a personal travel manager, but she started this business called Secret Stays. So she'd only recently started being an at-home travel agent, and then COVID hit. There's a challenge in itself. But what I love about what she did was that she's created this other brand called Secret Stays, which is domestic holidays. She's Victorian, so there's beautiful luxury places in Victoria that you give her the dates and your price range, and she comes back and surprises you with a beautiful weekend away. Mm-hmm. Just little things like that to supplement the income and get them through. I think that's effectively what we're all doing, and what's absolutely necessary to bridge that gap.
I think it's so well articulated, Matt. I'm glad you're using examples. Absolutely happy to do that. And I think we need more of that, actually. And to your point, it's all of us realizing that we can all play a part to help stimulate the economy to move better and quicker and back to the way we want it. And that requires behavioral change from the consumers not the providers.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this is something in the experience economy that I think, and I'll call it out, rightly or wrongly, I think consumers sometimes have become overly demanding and expecting too much. You know, they want people to give stuff for free. It's the example I talked to earlier. I might go as a consumer deliberately to a travel agent, knowing I'm no intention of booking with them, but I'm going to use their time to get their skills. And then, you know what I mean? There's all those sorts of things and those behaviors where I think just a fairer playing field is to actually put yourself in the shoes of an SME and respect what it is that they actually do, and value what it is that they actually do, and maybe play your part to stimulating that. You know, as you pointed out, it's a classic example. I could book some stuff myself. Hey, I could get somebody to do it and book it for me, still end up better price and get better experience and better value out of it. It's just being more mindful of that.
Yeah.
I think
and that speaks to the point about, you know, what do we place importance on, you know, economically? You know, I've started using the fishmonger across the road. The quality of his fish is better, a little bit more expensive, but the quality is just phenomenal as opposed to buying it from a big chain. And why the big driver behind that was, I'm loving the community feel. You know, I'm spending more time in the community now. You know, I'm only in the office a couple of days a week, and I think that will be, you know, that will exist outside of just Mike. I think a lot of people will see that, and I want to know that I'm supporting him. I want to spend my money at the local coffee shop because I want it to be there in 6 months. I want the local brewery to be there because, you know, I like beer, and in 6 months' time, I want to go spend my afternoons there. So I'll go buy my 6-pack from him.
I love it. Supporting local.
It's also a little bit more pricey, which means that I don't drink as much. That's probably
I don't know if I told you, I've actually been alcohol free now before COVID, actually, pretty much. And I've also been pescatarian. I went vegetarian and I actually go pescatarian. So I've been pescatarian and alcohol free pretty much since February or something. So yeah, I what.